that they actually don't know this, but I mean, this is just wild.
I was like, how could this happen?
It's worse.
Yeah, because they.
Yeah, how could this happen? How could this happen in Britain, a place where, like, famously, the media loves trans people? Like, have you spent any time reading British media on the subject of trans people? Any time at all? It is wild the shit they get away with. I'm surprised they haven't found a way to blame trans people for October 7th.
They don't.
Which by 2020 had become a major revenue stream.
No, it hasn't.
Second, gender clinicians are ideologically invested in their practice. They are not willing or able to evaluate evidence scientifically.
Wait, so he's saying that people who are specialists in a field are unable to evaluate evidence scientifically if it relates to their field? That seems like a very convenient view for somebody who has absolutely no background in the field to hold, to be saying that the only people who are in a position to speak scientifically on the evidence are people who don't know anything about the field and have no training in it.
Hey, breaking news on puberty blockers. Guess what?
Offered. Well, the government, NHS England, has just confirmed that children will no longer be prescribed puberty blockers.
Now, again, Jimmy Dore doesn't know anything. That's one of the things you got to know about Jimmy Dore. He's one of those people who doesn't know anything. That's not, people don't go to him to know anything. They go to him because he says a bunch of shit. But the NHS is not just one entity. Because health is what's called a devolved area. And so there's NHS England, there's NHS Wales, there's NHS Scotland, and then the occupied 6 counties have their own NHS as well. So NHS England does cover the majority of the population under British rule. But it is not the only, but that is only one part of the NHS. And the NHS Gender Service is a fucking disaster. Like, I mean, it's because, first of all, you've got a bunch of what are known as conversion therapy shitheads running their gender service. There's only one place you can go to in the entire country. Like, if you live up in fucking Manchester or Newcastle, you have to travel all the way down to Tavistock in fucking, what is that, Devon? Let me just see. Yeah, West Devon. West Devon. You have to travel from one end of the country to the other each time you want to get it seen. The first time you go there, all they do is have you fill in forms. You don't get seen. You could have done this online, but they're not set up to do that. They want to make this as big a pain in the ass as possible. So you basically, it takes forever before you ever get treated. And meanwhile, for years, the British media have been doing this campaign where they talk about, kids are being pushed into transition on the NHS. And it's like, literally, if you want to actually get seen as a kid in the NHS Gender Service, you need your grandparents to have made an appointment 20 years before you were fucking born.
Gender identity clinics. This is coming from NHS England. It just broke in the last few moments.
Well, thanks for ruining Christmas.
Yeah, it's so funny that, kids are not going to be able to, trans kids are not going to be able to get the treatment they need that is literally life-saving without their parents going into debt to do it on the private health services.
I remember in middle school when you felt self-conscious if you were the last one to go through puberty. That really went topsy-turvy, didn't it?
Now you're a loser with leg hair and a beard.
So England is blocking, they're not going to give puberty blockers anymore.
No, NHS England is not England.
And so I guess there goes Princess Charlotte's chance to be king.
Like, God, what a fucking prick.
And
yeah, like these two old men laughing about fucking depressed trans kids not being able to get the care they need. Yeah, it's just these are just wonderful people. Like Jimmy Dore is absolutely the last person you'd want to like mash his nuts up with a cricket bat.
And I guess Harry Potter's finally going to be allowed to grow a mustache.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a great
Like seriously, this is what he.
point.
Wow, he's a prick.
Breaking news out of the UK: children will no longer be prescribed puberty blockers at gender.
Oh, and look at that. Who's he? Look at he's looking at Gays Against Groomers, which is a fash account, who, if I remember correctly, has been outed as some kind of a sex pest. But I mean, it's just like he's literally just putting up like fast shit at this point.
Clinics, and that's per the NHS England has confirmed. So, and guess who said that? That's the Gays Against Groomers. So those
Yeah, that's like maybe don't get your information from that asshole.
are gay people.
No, they aren't. It's one dude. It's one fucking dude.
Traitors.
So that's a traitors to their
who hate people who hate LGBTQ.
The word.
Yes, yeah, that is actually not wrong because he doesn't really like gay people either.
World is waking up to the fact that transing kids is medical abuse. No child is born in the wrong body. They say that.
Then where do trans adults come from, Jimmy? Like, do they just like show up on trees fully formed, like mushrooms or something like that, waiting for Mario to jump on them?
I think we need to fund research, medical research, towards psychotic adult interference with children blockers. How about that?
What did that psychotic adult interference with children's blockers? I thought you were cheering that on just now, Jimmy.
Oh, well, they have an NHS. That's the big key to it. So England is totally captured with the nonsense we're captured by. But guess what? They got national health care.
Yeah.
And because this is driven by private pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
No, it isn't driven by private pharmaceutical companies. And in fact, I mean, the fucking hell. Like, here's the thing. The people who are pushing to get rid of what little care there is for trans people, kids and adults, in Britain, are the same people who are privatizing the shit out of the NHS, handing it over mostly to Richard Branson.
Right.
Sell that.
And, like, these motherfuckers can barely manage to show some basic awareness of facts when they talk about shit going on in the US. Here they're talking about Britain, a country that they clearly... I bet Jimmy probably does not know that England's only part of Britain. I'm pretty sure that we can bet that. That's in my headcanon of him. He does not know that England is just one of several countries that are part of Britain.
Crap. They don't have the power. Like, they can't advertise on TV like they can here.
Right.
So that's the only reason that...
He thinks that... Who the hell is advertising... Who the hell is spending money to advertise transition-related care on TV to that extremely small audience that is famously not one that is necessarily the most able to pay? Like, am I missing something, chat? Has anyone seen, like, pharmaceuticals adverts specifically, promoting trans applications for them? Yeah, what is it with his shirt? I mean, it's like he decided to cosplay as a 19-year-old stoner from about 1998.
Like, why would UK is so far down the rabbit hole with nonsense American woke shit.
Actually, what the fuck? Like, I mean, literally, Britain is known as Turf Island because there has been this massive campaign of, like, all the media. It's not just a couple of outlets. It is literally every media outlet with a significant audience pushing all the most, like, lurid, fucked up shit to incite violence against trans people, to incite people to support taking away, like, basic things like the right to use public toilets and stuff like that. These motherfuckers, I can actually believe that they don't know, that they actually don't know this, but I mean, this is just wild.
I was like, how could this happen?
It's worse.
Yeah, because
Yeah, how could this happen? How could this happen in Britain? A place where, like, famously, the media loves trans people. Like, have you spent any time reading British media on the subject of trans people? Any time at all. It is wild the shit they get away with. I'm surprised they haven't found a way to blame trans people for October 7th.
they don't have all fully privatized medicine. That's why.
So
Then
I guess
why is it that actually other places that also don't have fully privatized medicine provide international best practices healthcare for trans people?
yes, so this means that the UK is anti-trans. There's no other possible reason
No
to
shit.
not give small.
Yeah, the UK. Well, the UK ruling class is anti-trans. If you look at the polls, and it's true here in the US as well. If you look at the polls, you will find actually overwhelmingly, people are not, like, drooling transphobic ghouls just looking to find ways to ruin trans people's lives a little more. You'll find that actually support for trans rights is the majority position, but you will also find that everybody who has any kind of money practically is pushing against that.
Small children hormone blocking drugs.
They want
have to be-
genocide is what it is, Jimmy.
That's what it is. So guess what? So this guy, Lior Sapir, he said,
Sapir, fucking hell.
this guy, he's a fellow and he's got a PhD.
At the Manhattan Institute, you dickhead. That is just a right-wing think tank. Fellow, that means nothing. That means absolutely nothing. Like, I mean, Jimmy Dore could be a fellow at the Manhattan Institute. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he became one. He's literally just looking at far-right shit.
At Boston College and stuff like that. He's from Harvard, all kinds. So he's very.
He doesn't know what any of these things are. It's like, oh yeah, well, he went to Boston College and, like, Harvard and stuff, and he's in the Manhattan Institute. Jimmy Dore does not know what the Manhattan Institute is, apparently.
Well credentialed, this guy. He says he asked Oxford University's Michael Biggs what he thought about the National Health Service in England's decision to decommission puberty blockers, and here's what he wrote to me.
Yeah, Michael Biggs, is a sociologist. He literally is not qualified at all to be talking about this. His big thing is that he had been, like, there was this anonymous far-right account posting all sorts of hideous transphobic shit. And it turned out that it was him. Like, this guy literally does not know. He's, like, why the hell would you ask Michael Biggs about this? He is not somebody who knows anything about this.
This is good news, though painfully delayed. It's 5 years to the month since I broke the news that the Tavistock Clinic was covering up the results of its experiment on puberty blockers.
Oh, God, yeah. It's so, wow, it's amazing how people who wanted this to happen in the first place, if you ask people who don't like trans people and don't want trans people to be able to get healthcare, they're all celebrating this decision. Isn't that wild? Like, isn't that just so amazing, Jimmy? What gets me is he looked at Manhattan Inst, which is the Twitter username, because it's not enough, they don't have enough characters or something like that, and he didn't finish saying it. Like, he literally does not know what the Manhattan Institute is. Yeah, I know, Adam, I don't know nothing. It's true. I mean, he used to. I never really followed him because he always struck me as a bit off. I was never too impressed with him. But he has just gone hard into far-right shit at this point. This is just straight up far-right shit. He's trying to be like the crotchety Tim Pool or something.
So I just what here we go. Why did the NHS take 5 years to
retreating from what the hell does that mean? What the hell does it mean to why the NHS is retreating from puberty? Yeah.
To retreat from puberty blockers?
To retreating? That's must be a misprint. Why did the NHS?
No, I bet he means that the NHS is like the entire NHS. Everyone who works there is going through puberty in reverse now. That's what they're retreating from puberty.
Take 5 years to retreat from puberty. First, the Tavistock NHS Trust benefited financially from its children's gender clinic.
A major revenue stream? How exactly? It's free at the point of use. Nobody is actually paying. Like, the only people who get paid off of that are when you take the bus or the train to get all the way down to fucking Tavistock to be seen or not seen. And aside from that, they have a huge waiting list. Hardly anyone gets seen. Also, the clinicians there, they are full of conversion therapy shitheads.
Which by 2020 had become a major revenue stream.
No, it hasn't.
Second, gender clinicians are ideologically invested in their practice. They are not willing or able to evaluate evidence scientifically.
Wait, so he's saying that people who are specialists in a field are unable to evaluate evidence scientifically if it relates to their field? That seems like a very convenient view for somebody who has absolutely no background in the field to hold, to be saying that the only people who are in a position to speak scientifically on the evidence are people who don't know anything about the field and have no training in it.
Why did they take 5 years? I don't know. Maybe
because it was a bullshit decision, and actually the Tories had to move even further right than they already were and lay the propaganda groundwork.
Maybe it's time for the NHS to grow up. How about that?
Maybe they were on puberty block.
What the fuck would you know?
And they
maybe that's what it is.
Why is it going to take way more than 5 years for that to happen here?
You can't.
Question.
What do you mean? What do you mean take way more than 5 years for that to happen here? There are plenty of states right now where it is illegal for kids to get best practice, for trans kids to get best practice gender-affirming care. It is literally illegal. You go just like 30 minutes south of me to Kentucky, it's illegal. You go to fucking West Virginia, it's illegal. You go to Florida, it's illegal. Like, they're banning it all over the place. They're banning it right here, in fact. So the U.S. was doing this ahead of Britain. So what does that mean if you're saying that the U.S. is where it's dominated by Big Pharma and shit? So maybe Big Pharma is agreeing with you guys, it sounds like, actually.
You can't be insinuating or suggesting that there was an amoral motive behind all of this, can you?
Why exactly would there be an amoral motive behind Tories trying to hurt a marginalized constituency?
It's because there are the same doctors who, if they were veterinarians, would offer surgery to put a marsupial pouch on your dog to hold your cell phone.
like they are. They literally keep you waiting for years, and then they try to talk you out of being trans at all.
You can get that?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you know puberty blockers are Cockney rhyming slang for off your rockers? Did you know
No, it isn't. It literally isn't.
that?
No.
I mean, I'm somewhat surprised that he knows what Cockney rhyming slang is, but no.
I'm trying to learn Cockney rhyming slang. It doesn't
Oh,
make
please don't. Please fucking don't.
any sense to me.
Well, I mean, you don't make sense to anyone, so maybe it's just mutual.
Okay. Here's his third reason why it took 5 years. Third, there were many adolescents and parents who were desperate to access these drugs in the mistaken belief that they would enable them to change sex.
I mean, he's just literally reading off this bullshit. Yeah, I mean, that was a good one they fired there. That, like, so Anna Kasparian could be the entire, like, far right there. The LGBT groups have an outsized amount of power in the British media system. Do they really, le hors sapir? And, if this were any other issue, he would be saying, what kind of name is that? That sounds Israeli. And suggesting that inherently made it suspect. But because he's, like, slagging off trans people and celebrating the fact that, trans youth aren't going to have access to healthcare they desperately need, he's going to apparently give that a pass. Wonderful, wonderful guy. I'm gonna switch over now. I've kind of had enough of Jimmy Dore, and we're gonna look at that Xander whole thing.